We have a number of people going on the road to visit shalas, and I find myself repeating myself and thought I'd say for the record a couple of things about visiting my friends and my students and esteemed strangers doing this work. You were not raised by wolves. You're not doing this practice as a form of gymnastics. You're part of a lineage and a fictive kinship that means that these are the specific occasions where we can create a lot of meaning and connection and inclusion, and also communicate before you even step on your mat savoir-faire around what this even is. So the extra mile that I would love for you to take with my friends and colleagues and esteemed strangers, if you know they have a Ganesha, or maybe a Shiva, or a Saraswati in their shala, is some sort of token for that archetype or deity as you may see it. This is just my way, and it shows a recognition of something. So that's above and beyond the fruit or the flowers that you might offer before you even offer your own presence and your own energy to that situation. Most importantly, though, if you have a teacher, there's an understanding of at least the protocol of you always take primary series only when you first arrive in a place. I never asked Sharathji why around this or anything. And over the years, I understood why from asides that he would make or people who actually did ask on this and other topics. And also would finally understand why from within. It just, to begin, is a way of being safe in your body. And that's the easiest and perhaps most dismissive explanation for this protocol. Another easy and dismissive one is that's just the way it's done. It's always been that way. This is also true. If you're arriving in a new setting, you've been on the road, your energy, body, and your muscles are not what you expect them to be, especially if you've been on an airplane. And you're around new people with new energy and new breath. This is a very good setup for an injury or just dysregulation. The other variable there that can lead to dysregulation or injury is any sense that you have to demonstrate what you can do or what you know. Especially for those of you who are learning the intermediate and the advanced work, or you're deep into it. We really want to give the ego a break. We all have an ego. And it is very normal to want to do our best in a situation like that. So, you do your best in all the ways that involve connecting and being present, keeping the nervous system relatively calm, and taking off the table any of the performativity, the ways that in the gestalt of oneself in the room, the sense of self might be overly emphasized or even inflamed in such a situation. You just take it off the table for safety and for balance. The primary series works with the granthis, they all do, the kind of knots in the energy body. And you especially want to be able to allow the root, the granthi in the center of the pelvic floor, or maybe in the center of the low belly, to just settle. I'd say that's the esoteric reason for the protocol, beyond the more obvious safety features and the taking the ego a little bit off the table. There's also a really deep relational thing. You know, you don't know what you're going to get when you're dropping in somewhere. How able the teacher will be as they hold space, how able they will be to perceive. If this is somebody who is just looking at the shapes of the postures, then that is fine, it's their space. But then you really want to give them a chance to understand your primary series. The system that we follow is scaffolded, but also the understanding within a teacher is sort of structure rated by the method itself. So we will understand your postures beyond the primary series through the lens of the opening postures. So if you do have a teacher with whom you want to have a connection around learning, it's hopeless if you won't allow them to perceive you in your primary series aspect. And that's something that's changing, you know, from one trip to the next. Even if they saw your primary series 5 years ago, they're going to benefit from you opening up in that way, with that sort of an offering. They will understand everything that comes later better and be able to work with you and support you better. So again, when you're being hosted in a new room, when you're meeting your fictive kin and maybe even people in your immediate lineage, if they're my students, there's a relationality there. It's not just paying your respects. It's an opening to mutual understanding. If the teacher is someone who's perceiving you beyond the level of posture, then this is even more critical in a way. So they're going to want to enter through a grounded sort of establishment of rapport rather than from the other nervous system inflections that are in the intermediate, advanced work. These are just different symphonies. And to get the nervous systems of a teacher and a student, but also a practitioner and a community established and in rapport together, there's a kind of base note that you play first if you want to move into the other registers of the expression later. What it says when a teacher has somebody walk into their room and want to do a big, huge practice when they first arrive is that you were raised by wolves. Like, the best interpretation is just that you don't know, that you haven't really experienced your practice through these more subtle, relational, energetic registers enough to know how to land. Or it says that you don't care, that your performance is more important, or your postures are something you are so attached to, that the participation in the broader culture of the practice and the esteem that we show each other and the ways that we connect is just deeply secondary. And the compulsion around doing the poses somehow is enough to put all of that to the side. Let's say somebody just doesn't know. A teacher's usually perceptive enough to know that they just don't know. Nobody needs to be judged or shamed around the enculturation or the pedigree that they bring into a setting, because we're all in this together. Anyone who takes practice is part of the exact same stream of knowledge, and it's all good. And as we stay with it, it gets more and more subtle, and the understanding of the relational aspect becomes more and more beautiful and detailed. So I'm putting your attention there now as you think about visiting. A teacher is a person who's probably made huge sacrifices to do this work, probably makes very little money, and is just finding the value and the beauty in the work of service, so much so that they don't care so much. These are people who so value to see the practice valued in the eyes of another. They're not probably so concerned about getting all the students in their room, so much as receiving the student who can bring that valuation through their behavior and through their attitude that offers energy to the space, makes them feel good about the work that they do, makes them think maybe they made the right choice in life. So that's also something that you really have the capacity and the power to offer when you go to a place and interact with those who have chosen this crazy, specific way of life that we are living. I recommend to make it an art.